welcome to another edition of Fins Talk Overtime. I'm your host, Bobby Melendez, joined by Brett Lagasse. Big stories to talk about today. Brett, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. A little beat up, but I'm good.
I get it. Hey, man, it's been a crazy week. All right, it's to start it. I've done Fins Talk today. I've dug in the trenches. Now I'm here with you at Overtime, the official Dolphins Bills preview. We're gonna look at obviously, the key storylines in this game, injuries, the big matchup. The Dolphins 2-0. I predicted 2-0 to start the year, but not like this.
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah, I had the Dolphins winning 17-14 against Baltimore. It was 28-14 at halftime. Miami, all phases of the game were failing from special teams, defense, offense. And then something switched at halftime. I mean, what didn't switch, was never off, was something I noticed when I look back at the game was that the players, the coaches, never looked like they were out of it. They looked like they've stayed focused in the game. They were hyped. They come in the second half, big turnaround. You come right in, brother. You big turnaround in the second half. 6 touchdowns later for Tua. We've both heard it. But the team in general, huge win. Go ahead. You give your point on that, but also your reaction to the big win last week.
Well, one, it was huge because I'm tired of losing to Baltimore, right?
Yes.
I'm sick of the losing to Baltimore every week. I'm sick of every week we lose to Baltimore, or every year we lose to Baltimore, and it's not even close. Last year they came in banged up. We beat them, but on Thursday Night Football, Baltimore on the road teams usually don't have good success. So it felt like a win, great, but it didn't feel like a win. You know what I mean? It felt like awesome we won, but we kind of got away with it. And then this game, it started to feel like the old Baltimore, right? All the time, every time we play them, they just punch us in the mouth. And ever since Harbaugh took over, that's been what happens, except for 2015, last year, and this year. So the first time we ever beat Baltimore since 97, I think, in Baltimore. And we were getting our asses kicked, just slaughtered. It was a typical game. And on the sideline, I couldn't read to it, but he didn't look like he was. He kind of looked out of it to me. At that point in the game, I looked at him
in the first half?
Yeah, he kind of looked like he not quit, but it kind of looked like he was done, like he checked out. So I don't know if it's just his way he looks all the time, but he just didn't look like he had any faith left, or just kind of was like, shit, this is an ugly game. And then he wasn't even playing terrible. At some point in the game, I'm like, yeah, it's not really a terrible game, just a total all 3 phases collapse.
Yeah.
Especially opening the game up with a kick return for a touchdown. Defense just looked like hot garbage, running zone the whole time. Just completely hated every minute of watching that game up to that point. And then the way they came back was huge. It seemed like it was too little too late the way they were scoring. The Gesicki touchdown, I was like, man, that was a nice throw, back in the end zone high. The Gesicki's going to get it or nobody's going to get it, which is great. Dropping 9 in coverage, so somebody's going to be open. It's pretty much 7-on-7 because there's no rush. And Tua knew where his tight end was. Throw it up, only he's going to make that catch. He knows every DB on there is shorter than him and can't out-jump Gesicki. That was good. And so you're like, well, okay, but it's still too little too late because it's still 35-14. There's not much you can do. This game's pretty much over. It's garbage time at this point. But then the drive for River Craycraft, that touchdown there, that was like, okay, there might be a chance, but again, still too little too late. And then that's when the defense started stopping them again. It's like, hold on, we might have a chance here. But just to go right back down and throw a huge bomb to Tyreek down the right side of the field. Again, Tua struggled to his right all of last year. Struggled. Not just intermediate, but short passes, intermediate, deep passes. He struggled at all points of the field on the right. And what do you do? Throws a 55-yard bomb. Everybody's like, well, it was underthrown. Okay. It was, it was. But, again, Tyreek can out-muscle for that ball. He did have to slow down. And, if he didn't get a touchdown there, you'd be like, damn it, I'd like to get a touchdown there. I'd hate to see that. And, it's not going to happen like that every time. But, I mean, it was to the right side at a 55-yard air, or it was a 55 air yard, but it was a 55-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And he exploited the coverage. I don't want to hear, well, Marcus Peter, the whole injury. They didn't have 3 starters on the field. No bullshit. They did. They had Marcus Peters, and they had oh man, what's his name? 44. So the Humphreys. So they had their starter, but their safeties. They got like McDaniel took him to school. He took McDonald to school.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was hearing was that Tyreek was wide open. If Tua did not make that pass and was short or incomplete, people would be blowing him up. But because he made it, it's like, but it was easy. Right. No, that's the throw he has to make. That's why you go out and you get a Tyreek Hill and you go draft a Jalen Waddle. I mean, and you want to see that out of your quarterback.
But people call us haters, right? And here, what are we saying? Like, he did what he was supposed to do. I kept saying this Marcus Peters is coming back. He's banged up. Or he's not, like, he hasn't played since 2020. So, like, exploit that. He doesn't have fresh legs. Exploit it. You know what I mean? Or like he's 100%. Not like back in football shit. And they exploited it. That's what I was asking him to do. So, like, the 400-yard, 450-yard, or 469 and 6 touchdowns, it's way more than I was expecting him to do. But I mean, he did what I expected him to do. It took a little later in the game, but hell, it was what I expected.
Hey, and you know what
I wanted.
In the end, you could say, I know you said like it was like a little too late at one point. It felt like that. And I know somebody's throwing at me, Baltimore could have took their foot off the pedal, whatever. Well, that's on Baltimore. Okay. And they may have done that. That's on Baltimore. It's on Miami to take advantage of that. And they did. But let me tell you, that throw at the end, that final throw, Baltimore was trying to stop them. They were going to lose that football game. Guess what? Tua got it to Tyreek. To Jalen Waddle into the end zone, touchdown. So, yes, big game for Tua. Second week, 6 touchdowns, 400 some odd yards. He did throw 2. One was his fault. One was not. You could argue that. But it was a good game to see. And like you said to me, I know you want to react some, was that, you could finally retire the Arizona game.
Yeah, finally. And because the Arizona game, don't get me wrong, he had a good game, but it was kind of like, okay, who cares? Like, that was it. That's all he did. Like, he hasn't played anywhere near that level since. This game, he played near that level. He made defenders miss. I was saying against New England, and I got killed for it. I don't really care. Like, he did not do that against New England. That spin out against the Ravens, he wasn't doing that earlier in the damn game. He stood there on one of the sacks. That ability has been there. He just hasn't done it. That's why I was like, where has that been? Like, we know you can do it. We've seen it. You just don't consistently do it. I don't know why. And maybe because he didn't know where his receivers were if he did it, but this time he knew where Craycraft was. They made the play. So, but the interceptions were his fault. The one I care less about. The one going to Tyreek, the way that play is set up, again, I've talked, like Vincent's mentioned this, having a shorter quarterback turn his back to the line of scrimmage on play action, that's the kind of issues you run into. He can't always get his eyes back around and see a safety coming down. You still have to know, it's still not an excuse. You still have to know the safety's coming. I get it, but you understand why that happens in that situation. The second one was bad. He's looking off the safety that's not going to be affected by the look off because of the position he's outside the middle of the field. So what are you looking off? There's nothing to look off. And he thought he had it. He was trying to do a little bit too much with that early on. So that's why he threw the interception. That one, you can't do that. The second one was probably the most egregious one. The first one, he's just trying to make a play. And I can't fault him. Like the one, week 1, throwing to Tyreek, he was trying to make a play. Tyreek made a play. He's trying to let his playmakers make plays. I can't fault him for that because he didn't even do that last year all the time.
Yeah.
His rookie year, he didn't do that. Like there's guys I'm like, okay, go let him make a play. He's coming open. Okay, no, you just throw it to double coverage to Jalen Waddle out of bounds. Like what are you doing? You had Ford coming open. So like he didn't do that before. Now he's starting to see it. Now if you watch, he's loaded up, ready to throw before the receivers are coming open. That's what you want to see from him. That's what we were not seeing. And I don't care all these people like thumping their chest. Yeah, see, we were right about Tua, but you guys couldn't even look at all 22 and actually figure out why the hell you were right. But you weren't right. You weren't seeing any of this. You were just saying he can do this, but we just haven't seen it, but he wasn't doing it. And that's the thing. Call me a hater, I don't care, but he wasn't doing it. Now he did do it. So now he has to continue to have success doing
consistency.
Right.
Consistency, yes. Uh-huh.
Right. This isn't like, oh, Tua's our guy, move on, fuck all the talk. But he has to consistently play at a high level. Doesn't mean 400 yards, 6 touchdowns.
No, he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do that every week, but he has to play at a consistent level. He has to play. Not every game's gonna be great. He's not gonna play 17 straight games of
what's up,
great
Mike?
Play. So,
well, and that's what I was gonna say right now is that, and I want to bring that up. Mike, I was on Bottoms Up, Fins Up with Mike, the Hebrew Hammer Brown, and his dad, Lewis. Awesome guys.
Great show.
Happy to have, yeah, dude. They're fun, and I love having them on the channel, on the network. They're doing big things, and Mike, just like Evan, just like the Fins Talk Sports Hour, I consider a family. We're all brothers. We all, and we go at it. We, Evan's there trolling as usual, but love you, brother. But his dad brought a good point about this Tua performance, because it was a great performance. But it's just to say, if Tua comes out tomorrow and lays a duck, lays an egg,
means nothing.
And you're gonna have people popping off too, going, oh, and Mike was, said, well, why would you even put that in? But I get that point of view, because that's a question with Tua. It's gonna be like that all year. One performance is not gonna justify whether he goes or stays. It's the season. However, at least my 100%. Opinion, Brett, I want to bring this up very quick.
Yeah.
The one I won't question is the coach. Mike McDaniel, dude. Mike McDaniel to me is the real deal. He's really stood out. The way he carries himself with this team, the energy. I mean, Tua during the week with Tyreek, these guys have only been together for 2 weeks. Oh, I'm sorry, played for 2 weeks, but been together a little longer. But the chemistry,
regular season speed's different though.
There'll be a question with Tua till the final game of the season, and we'll say, okay, it's either yes or no for the rest. But there's no question on Mike McDaniel. How do you feel about Mike McDaniel these first 2 weeks of the season?
There's no doubt in my mind that he's a good coach. No doubt now. Like none. He goes in. Belichick has a good record against rookie head coaches. Yep. He goes in, controls the game, has a good game plan, exploits them, does a good job. And then Baltimore is in a situation we've seen time and time and time again against Baltimore. We've seen it. We've been embarrassed by Baltimore in prime time. We've been embarrassed by Baltimore all around. Everybody remembers 2019. So, it's always something, right? And this time we're getting blown out. And that game under Adam Gase, under Brian Flores, under Joe Philbin, it's over. It's over at the half. We're losing 56-10 at
Bridgewater's coming out at halftime.
Right.
At that point.
Yeah. Bridgewater's coming in, maybe even no, he was inactive, but we're seeing back.
Evan brought that up on Bandwagon, and I brought it up today, but it's true. If that was Flores, the game would have been over. He would have brought in Bridgewater, and then Bridgewater would be starting today, probably.
Yeah. So he did not fold. He saw things, he made adjustments, and something I want to bring up, and I don't care how you feel about it, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if we win because it's McDaniel. I don't care if we win because it's Tua or the defense. Or I want to win because of Tua more than anything, because that would mean our franchise quarterback, and when it's dog shit, we can win. And that's what he did. And that's what I've been wanting to see from him. Go carry the team when the defense is having a bad day. It goes back to what I told y'all last year, and we're being dumb about it. The defense can't carry it. The defense carried it last year a lot. Anytime we scored over 7, the defense gave up more than 17 points, which is not that much. The offense couldn't win. That's bad. That's ugly. I mean, look at the Panthers. I think every time their defense gives up 20, they won one game under Matt Rule. That's terrible. So to see him not only carry the team, but to carry them back and put them on the map by scoring all 6 touchdowns, throwing for 6 touchdowns, and scoring 42 points on offense, and not needing a defensive point, and the defense just had the worst day we've seen them have in a couple of years. That was huge. But Mike McDaniel is the big reason for that. And I'm pretty sure the calls coming late are because Mike McDaniel is helping Tua in the mic, just like McVay did with golf, right? I'm not saying Tua can't do it, but I think he's in his ear, kind of coaching him through the audibles and reads, almost slowly giving him that more of a leash, and kind of okay, I'm going to help you through this. You're going to slowly do this on your own without me, and you won't need me because it's still early in the season. So if that's the case, if it's not the case, I don't really care. We're winning football games. That's what matters. We're winning at the end of the day, and we're explosive offense. We're making plays. Oh, and how about that huge run by Edmonds? Run game was decent all game, but how about that huge game run at the end of the game with that beautiful design?
Yeah.
Gesicki made a horrible block on the backside, but just motioning him, took the defender in man, motioned him out of the way, and created a wide open lane. Like,
Hey,
it's beautiful.
okay, so again, we're going to talk Buffalo, Miami. We have to. It's the biggest game. I mean, this is a different feel. This is 2-0. It's only 2-0 team. Two teams 2-0. It's very early, but it feels like this is more.
Three in the AFC.
Well, 3, okay, but still, no. What I'm saying is, there's the 2-0 teams right here. I mean, it's still early, but it still feels like this is big time game tomorrow. It's as Mike Brown has said, it's a litmus test for the Dolphins to really prove where they're at.
It really is.
But going back to this Ravens game, first off, the Dolphins in week 1, it was the defense that really did it. The offense took care of week 2, which is great. So you're hoping with week 3 that it's Buffalo. But week 3 against Buffalo, John, thank you for everyone who's tuning in. You're watching OverTime on the phone. Smash that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you tuning in, talking Miami Dolphins win against Ravens and also doing the preview for Buffalo Bills. But excuse me. So where are we going? So you want to hope that this next game is all 3 phases. They have to be all 3 phases to win this game. So
we have to see it.
But hey, we had some question marks on this offensive line. Remember, you weren't a fan of Connor Williams at center. Austin Jackson goes down. Greg Little starts. Williams is really doing a damn good job at center right now. He's high expectations or exceeding expectations. Greg Little did a great job. And then, of course, Alec Ingold. I mean, I brought him as my dark horse MVP of the team. So tell me, brother, between the offensive line and Ingold, I want to talk about those guys right now. What's your feelings? I know, you don't look at the stats at all. You look at a different perspective of it. And that's what I respect about you. So you tell me, because, we're seeing that and when you're watching the game, you can see it. But, of course, you can only judge by stats by so much. But what are you seeing with this offensive line, Connor Williams, and then, of course, Alec Ingold, the fullback?
I could tell you that the interior on the right side's good, playing good, doing their job. Hunt's literally crushing people, Little leads so much to be desired at right tackle. He's about average as it gets. Armstead's doing a good job. Eichenberg needs to go. Needs to be on the bench. Like it's the offensive line is
Eichenberg. Yeah, I think
so bad. Williams is doing good.
He is, but that's what I think about Eichenberg. Eichenberg is being, how do you call that? Not blanketed. What do you call that when it's like, but by the play of Armstead and Williams,
he's kind of being cushioned. Like
you can't really see what he's doing. It's kind of being protected at that point. I'm just going to bring up one thing. I'm so sorry. Let me just say this, Evan, bandwagon, Mr. Positivity. I'm watching all your comments. Come on, man.
It's McDaniel.
I mean, McDonald.
McDonald is the defensive coordinator. McDaniel schooled.
Let's keep the negativity off the comments, brother. Come on, man. It's positivity time. Come on, bandwagon. I thought you're supposed to be Mr. Positivity. Go ahead, Brett. I had to throw that in there.
So, what was? So the offensive line. So, here's the thing about Williams playing center. If we already had a stud left guard, and you still want to sign Williams because he's got a nasty streak and he's a good run blocker, fits your system all that well, and you feel like he's versatile to play center, cool. Or if you had a chance at signing a stud left guard and Williams, and you're like, look, I really want both. I don't really want to pick and choose. Fine. But we don't have any of that. We don't have a stud left guard. We don't have a stud, we didn't sign a stud left guard and say, well, we got to find a way to get them both on. We just kind of put them there, and then we're like, oh yeah, Eichenberg can be a left guard. Look, I liked Eichenberg coming out. I was like, you know what? This guy move him inside is going to be solid, especially in zone blocking scheme. He has not even been solid. He's not even been backup level solid. So I hate to say he was one of my favorite, not one of my favorite, but I actually respected that draft pick, but he has not panned out whatsoever. I'm not afraid to say he's not. Right?
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to say.
Notre Dame guards are pretty good. Some coming out, so I was a little surprised how he's been playing. But yes,
and I'm his technique is bad, his hands are bad, his base is bad, and I've talked to somebody who used to play in this system in the NFL, and he's saying you got to give him time, especially a new system to develop. I'm like, I get it, I understand, but I'm not seeing improvement. And Paul Alexander, one of the better analytical offensive line guys, has said, once. In his grade system, once a guy grades so low and doesn't it's very rare for him to come all the way back to the top. He's seen him go from the red to like the yellow and orange where they're like average or good enough, but that means they have to have good ones around them. Now, a lot of people will tell you have to have 3 good offensive linemen to make a good offensive line, usually 2 to 3. Armstead's a stud. Williams is good, has been a stud, honestly, and Hunt's been solid. Like, so that's why the offensive line isn't terrible, but it's still not good enough. I think if you upgrade Eichenberg, the offensive line's better. Okay. But I'm worried about Buffalo. Interior-wise, they're missing a lot of defensive talent.
Hank brought it up today. Von Miller, man, the Dolphins need to stop him. That dude is piercing lines, and I didn't even think. And it's crazy. I didn't think of
he's
that.
Not dedicated one side or another. Von Miller is going to play left and right, so I'm a little worried about him. And then Rose, don't sleep on Greg Rousseau. I mean, like,
we talked about him too. I think Evan brought him up. Hank brought him up as well, and Evan followed up with the name. But yeah, no, Greg Rousseau on the other side too. That Miami, this is going to be a true test. All 3 phases of the game, Miami has to do well against Buffalo or Barfalo. First off, Don, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you, everyone. If you're just watching,
right, John, Don, Steve, Evan,
everyone, thank you so much. Hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you.
Evan, that Eichenberg block was good on the Waddle touchdown. But I mean, like one block. I mean, I've seen like 2 or 3 good blocks from him in a game, and that's about it. Then you see him like he gets in the way, and it's like, okay, you block somebody, kind of, sort of. I'm not blocking Connor Williams.
I know Evan's just busting balls, John. That's what he does. He loves doing it. I'm picking. It's a back and forth, brother. Yes, he did play tackle at Notre Dame, but he did play tackle for the Dolphins last year, and he struggled. It's a new position. Connor Williams is playing a new position and balling out. So it's just, look, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't.
Length is not size and length are not a problem until it is. I will say that and say it and say it. It's not a problem until it is. And what that means is I don't care if a guy has short arms, you want to put him at tackle. If he succeeds, great. He does good. Look at Slater that the Chargers drafted. Oh, he's a guard because he has short arms, and he's killing it at tackle. All right, so it's not a problem until it becomes a problem. So, like, let's say Philip Rivers, everybody talked about his arm. Well, his arm really wasn't a problem because he had it up here. He knew what the defense was doing, so he knew how to kill you with anticipation, and he did a good job of that. His arm didn't become a problem. So, like, your weaknesses are only a weakness if you let them become a problem. And Eichenberg, his length, he has no way to make up for it, no athleticism to make up for it. So it's become a problem for him. He has no anchor, no base. He has no burst. He has no anger. You know what I mean? He doesn't play with heavy hands. So, like, everything that was a weakness for him is exposed every week.
Hey, let me do this too, and then we're gonna get to the Buffalo game right now. But I have to bring this up because you were blowing this up. You were talking about this kid was Kohu. Cater Kohu. Number one, the PFF, I think it was PFF has the number 1 rated corner in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
man. Here's your flowers. Talk to me about this kid. What are you seeing?
He is everything you want in a DB. Like, he plays with fire. He reminds you of a better version of Nick Needham. And look, I'm a Nick Needham fan. I love Nick Needham. I love what he is.
I love that, Evan.
So Nick Needham has played well, right? But Cater Kohu is on the same level. Like, he comes in, undrafted free agent. Hey, not only am I going to make this team, how many times have we seen like an undrafted free agent make the team? And it's kind of like, oh, we love him. Then he's like, Yeah. No, this kid is like, hey, you want me at safety? Cool, I'll play safety. You want me to play Eric Rose role? Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that too. I'll knock the tight end out. I'll cause a couple PBUs. You want to play corner? I'll play corner and play like anywhere they want him. Unlike a certain safety that cried his way out, he'll play linebacker if you want him to. It doesn't matter. He won't cry. He don't back down from a challenge. And that's what I love about him. And I'm seeing a kid. Like, every time I watch him, like, there's Kohu. There he is.
Yeah.
And he's looking to make a play. And I'm like, man, whoever is finding our DBs, and I know we got Madison and Surtain, and they're bringing him along faster because those guys are really good mental guys. But, like, we've been finding guys like that before. Nick Needham, they've done a good job in Holland, which everybody really forgot about. They find their corners and they develop their corners, and they've done such a great job with that. And Kohu's another one coming up and coming. I'm a fan. I love watching him, and he plays like a guy who's pissed off. Like, I'm going to prove myself. Like, colleges didn't want me D1, NFL didn't want me in the draft. I'm going to prove that all of you were wrong. all of you colleges are wrong, all you NFL teams are wrong, and the Dolphins are about to be, paying or reaping the benefits of it.
So, looking at this Buffalo game, this is again, it's only week 3, but this feels like maybe
it's a big
this
game.
This is the make and break so far right now, truly, because this is not just a random. This is 2 badass teams. It looks like going into this week, both undefeated. Miami riding high after a huge comeback win. Of course, Tua throwing 6 touchdowns, but the Bills are still the Bills. They 2-0 against the Rams, the Super Bowl champions, and then beat the Titans. So they're coming here and they're riding high with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, but they are missing some pieces on defense. Right. My keys to the game I brought up earlier, and I should have brought that paper in, but first off, and Evan brought this up earlier too, was make Josh Allen run dimensional, rattle him, force some mistakes.
Which we've done before.
Yeah, protect your quarterback and do not leave points on the field. First off, that's the main thing, was don't leave points on the field, because you're not going to, Buffalo's going to score. You may have stop them one time in the whole game or twice, but you're not going to stop them enough to hold the lead. You need to keep scoring, whether it's, of course, you want touchdowns, but maybe field goals as well. And then, of course, with a banged up secondary, Tyreek and Jalen need to take advantage of that. The offense needs to take advantage, and they got to eat. I'm going to put this very quick. You run with it. I'll be right back. But so what are your keys to the game, brother?
So the key to the game is going to be what I always say when we're playing Buffalo: control the line of scrimmage. I am so tired of watching Buffalo. Oh, I'm by myself. That's cool. I'm so tired of watching Buffalo bully us, control the line of scrimmage. Their D line just bullying our offensive line, and this has been a thing since back with Joe Philbin and Adam Gase, and it gets tiring watching. I think the last time we had a whole lot of success against them was 2016 when Jay Ajayi ran for 500 yards against both of them or something like that. So I would love to see them come in, control the line of scrimmage. I'd love to see the offensive line kind of impose their will, take advantage of Jordan Phillips and Ed Oliver not being there, run the ball down their throat as much as possible. The linebackers are good, but get the linebackers out of position, get to the second level on your blocks and develop a run game. And then it's going to be, the other part is going to be exploit their secondary. So they're coming in here without Micah Hyde, which is huge. Jordan Poyer banged up. I don't know if he's going to be healthy or if he's going to play or not. They're already out Tre'Davious White. And then they lost their other corner. So they're playing rookies. So exploit that. Let your corners feast. Find a way to get Tyreek Hill on their weakest corners. Find a way to get that going. Find a way to exploit the safeties. Try to get those guys to exploit it, to exploit as many mismatches as possible. And do not turn over the ball. Force turnovers. Don't turn over the ball. Protect the football. Make less mistakes. Now, Evan, Dieter is not great, but sometimes I think about what Williams at left guard and Dieter at center would be a better option we have right now with Eichenberg at left. But that's what I was saying, Evan. Phillips and Oliver are out, so take advantage of it. Get a rush up the middle. I was worried about Eichenberg in this matchup, but with Oliver and Phillips out, he has a much better chance now. The offense has a chance right now to win this game and take this game over. This offense, or this defense that we're facing, is a fast defense. It can keep up with the speed we have, but they're missing some key pieces. The outside matchups with Von Miller and Greg Rousseau and what's his name that ended up hurting Tua last year, kid from Iowa. So those guys are tough matchups for our tackles. Armstead is good, and he can block those guys, but I worry about Little on the other side and our tight ends. Can they help chip? Can they help slow them down? That's what I worry about a little bit. Now, defensively, I worry about the middle of the field. Can Shannon Tindall be healthy to play this game? We need him in this game. We need him to spy Allen. Is he ready for that? That would be huge. The run game is not great, but it's their offense is fast. X needs to be on his game. We need Kader Kohu. We need Nick Needham. We need all of our corners, actually, everybody, every corner, every secondary player. I think I'm going to go through the whole list. Everybody has to be on their A game because covering the middle of the defense is going to be the biggest key, but that won't matter if they're exploiting mismatches on the outside against zone again, because that was ugly. Was it week 2 of 2020 when Diggs was going off against Igbo and was it Igbo? Yeah, I think it was Igbo. He was like tearing him up and then tearing up Byron Jones, and it was an ugly game. We can't have a repeat of that. We're gonna have to control that. Do not give them free releases. Do not get after Josh Allen. And if you have the blitz to get him, look, we don't have the pass rushers to win one-on-one matchups, but get after him. The Bills' offensive line hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been great either. It's definitely you can rush Allen, but play discipline on the outside, play discipline on the linebacker, get Allen off his mark. You've seen he can be a little rattled. The Titans had their chances against Allen. They didn't take it though. They had a chance to if they had caught the ball or they had forced that on was it 4th and 1, Allen was rattled and tried to throw it. If they had come up with the interception there, they could have turned the game. There's a few times where Allen made a couple dumb plays and the Titans didn't capitalize. Yep. The Dolphins had to capitalize. I look for Xavier Howard, Holland, and Tyndall to be keys on defense.
I just had to say, I had to step away for just a second, but I was paying attention, obviously, because I put Evan's question up on there. But I have to say, man, I got to give you a round of applause for your solo act for a little while. You're doing damn good. I felt bad at first when you said, "Oh, Bobby," I went, "Oh crap, I better turn it down."
No, that's cool. No, Bobby just. Oh, bud.
Yeah.
Channel my inner Celine Dion.
That's right. Hey, brother, at the beginning of the year, I think you and I both had. I know I did. I had this at Miami. Miami starting 2-0, but I had them falling to the Buffalo Bills in week 2. Did you had them as well? So let me ask you. So now you've seen this team for 2 weeks, the Dolphins. You've seen them gel in this second week. First week was defense. Second week was offense. A huge offensive win, a big comeback. Have you changed your prediction?
Man, so those of you who watched us on a Huddle Up and Wait, our NFL show, you would know the answer to this. And I had us losing this game close. I felt like this is the first time we're actually going to be ready for Buffalo and actually play a close game and take advantage of them coming off Monday night and 2 primetime games and short week. And they have a lot of injuries. Mike McDaniel will have this team ready to go. And I think that he's going to have this game different than we're normally used to. And Miami wins. Gets their first win in Miami against Buffalo. First win against Buffalo in how many years? 2018. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So I think Miami wins this game. I think Boyer might have something for Josh Allen, and I think the defense will be ready. Tyndall might become a factor. Xavier Howard, I think, will be a factor. So, and I actually think our offense might come alive again tomorrow. I actually have a good feeling that our offense will actually play really well.
So do you have a score? What's up, Nino? Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Score. So this is not going to be a lopsided game. This is going to be possibly an ugly scoring game, honestly. I think it's going to be like a 28-25 kind of game.
Okay.
Right. I think it could be like 28-25. It's going to come down maybe a field goal or something. But, yeah, that's how I think. I could see, I'm going to stick with that.
Nino says, good luck, Miami D, tomorrow. Rest in peace. Hey, it's going to be a tough game for Miami's defense. They can't do what they did in week 2. And I don't know if you're a Buffalo fan, you're tuning in. Well, either way, I appreciate you. Smash that like and subscribe button because it's a sports network.
Something else we need to remember. It's been every year the Dolphins defense has taken a couple of years to actually settle down or a couple of weeks to settle down. So
yes,
I hope they get that shit together this year. No slow starts.
You can't start and not against Buffalo. You need, and you know what? And also this goes down to the fans, those who are tuning in, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. And, first off, thank you. Smash the like and subscribe button. But secondly, if you're going to be at the game tomorrow, you see other Dolphin fans, be louder than those Buffalo fans. We saw some Bills Mafia down in South Beach, Miami. You need to be louder. You need to scream and bring that energy, bring that McDaniel energy to Hard Rock because that's going to play a factor as well.
And I don't think that's going to be an issue because the couple games I watched this year, the first game, it felt like
Miami's been showing out. The fans the energy is different.
Yeah, and I know it's a home opener, and home openers in Miami are usually a little bit more energetic than the rest, but that was more energetic than I've seen a home opener in a couple of years. That was a pretty hype home opener.
It was. And John, I don't know if you saw it earlier. I did have a loss for Miami originally. It was 38-24 or 35-24. I think 38-24 Buffalo, my original prediction. But watching this team the last 2 weeks, I'm not talking about 6 touchdowns. That did not sway. That did help, but it didn't sway that much. It was more of the energy.
Tyreek get open.
Tyreek, But no, it's the energy of this football team, the chemistry. And I got them winning tomorrow 35-28. Dolphins
right.
over
Hell
Buffalo.
yes.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be.
Time. It's
It's
time to
time.
beat Buffalo. Time
This
to
is
put
it.
this crap behind us.
Hey, let me ask you this. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but maybe Monday we might have to do a reaction and then a preview for Thursday. But if Miami does beat Buffalo, or let's say if win or lose, how concerned are you with Cincinnati and Miami?
So
I have to ask that, and I don't mean to get into that right now, but
if you put this, all right, put this, Cincinnati's playing like crap, right?
Yes.
They keep putting themselves in a hole, then they try to dig themselves out of the hole. It's too little, too late all the time. They played the Jets this week. Likely, could get their first win. Jets could keep rolling. Who knows? If this was a Sunday game, we're playing the Bills or Bengals on Sunday in Cincinnati, I really wouldn't stress it at all. It's the only reason I'm even stressed about that game right now is because it's Thursday night on the road. That's it. That's all. Like, I'm not even saying like, oh, they're it's the Bengals. I mean, obviously they have a good team. They're playing bad, but they have a good team all around.
Yeah, for sure.
No idea why they're playing so bad, but like they're getting out coached, they're getting outplayed, everything. So like, I'm not worried about that game, but it's Thursday night. But at the same time, if Miami beats Buffalo, they're on a roll. They're officially rolling. So like, I'm not overly stressed about it either. And I'm not overly stressed about them being ready for a Thursday night game either. Because this isn't Adam Gase. This isn't Joe Philbin. Right. Hell, it's not even like Brian Flores was a better coach than Gase and Philbin. And now we're looking at McDaniel, and it seems like on the road in a tough situation, an environment we haven't won against a good team, come back and win. Like, can you keep, if you roll against Buffalo and carry the momentum in, Miami's hot, and hot teams are dangerous at that point. So Miami's 3-0 after this week. Thursday's all anything can happen Thursday.
And then they have a break, like a little break, and then they got the Jets in week 5.
And they can keep rolling.
Yeah. Hey, so, and I'm thinking, and I don't want to do, because I'm not that person. I like to go week by week and see how the team looks. We'll see how they play tomorrow. But Miami has a legitimate shot if they go beat Buffalo to go start the season 4-0 after we thought it was a 4-game shot. I said I was happy with 2-2.
Right? Yeah.
There's a legitimate shot.
2-2 is still like you're not in a hole. Remember when Brian Catt was on? He said 2-2, and you're in good shape because you're playing some backup quarterbacks and you have some like favorable matchups after the first 4 games. You know what I mean? Like, so that's good. So anything 2-2 or better is good, but just beating Buffalo sends a message to the league like, Ravens weren't a fluke. We're not a fluke. We're here. We're ready to play. And when you play us, you better bring it. You better have an answer.
Evan says you're welcome to join the bandwagon on Tuesday night. We'll save a spot on the bus for you. Yeah, that would be fun to watch. But no, man, I think
I was here for the Cleo Lemon days, man. I was here for long before that when Brock Marion took over.
That's right.
Marion.
Yeah, nothing will get us up.
Heward took over for Marino. I've been here for a long time.
That's right. Been through it all, man. The ups and downs, and right now it looks like there's an up. And again, we've been 2-0 before or whatever, but this is a different 2-0, and I think fans have a right to be excited. And like I said,
they do.
The conversation on the quarterback will go on through the season. He'll have his ups and downs. I'm not looking for 6 touchdowns each week. I'm looking for consistency. But so far, 2 weeks in a row, he's shown good enough to win football games. And this will be a big test tomorrow. Big. I never believed when they said, "Oh, can Tua win a shootout?" I couldn't believe. It was hard for me to believe that after what he did against Baltimore in that big comeback. I said, you know what, he might actually be able to shoot out with Tyreek and Jalen by his side against a Josh Allen and team. So it's exciting, brother. Any final words before we get people ready for tomorrow?
Let's think about something real quick. I don't care what anybody says. 2-0 start is huge for McDaniel. McDaniel is winning them games. Like, his offensive coaching is exploiting mismatches, and they're starting to be taken advantage of. So I don't care your thoughts of Tua. If you don't believe in them, do believe in them, doesn't matter.
No, I agree.
Mike McDaniel is another positive coach off of the Shanahan tree. And if he continues this projection, it's still way early. Don't get me wrong. He continues this projection. That's huge for Miami. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Someone like him, you know you're going to have, okay, he's going to find a quarterback. So let's say Tua can't continue this, and you're going to find a quarterback. That gives you faith. And or the other side, hey, you can keep developing Tua. He's going to keep developing Tua to his max, whether that's, Jimmy G or higher. He's going to develop him to his max potential. And he's on the way to like shatter the 4,200 yards I said he should throw. So he's on pace. Like he's moving in the right direction. And McDaniel is off. Like, look at what McVay did with the Rams early on. Look what McDaniel's doing. If he shows up against Buffalo, dude, I'm 100% in on McDaniel. I mean, I am now, but like, I couldn't be like, if he beats Buffalo and shows, hey, we can compete, and we didn't look like a fluke win. We look like, hey, we actually competed with them. We battled with them. Threw haymakers back and forth. I'll be so hyped. It'd be the first time I felt like we're ready to compete in a long time.
Hey, and we're going to leave it at that. So you have it 28-25 Miami. I got it 35-28. We're going to know by tomorrow afternoon. Did Miami get the job? It's going to be hype. There'll be a lot of activity on Twitter. Are you back on Twitter now?
I'm back on Twitter. My band was over. And I'm so stupid. I agree with somebody. We're actually like friends with each other on there. And it's like, oh, you said something wrong. Like, we didn't say nothing wrong. It's a saying.
Keywords. But no, very cool. I mean, it's going to be – I'll just tell people now because I know people try to interact with me. I don't like going on Twitter during games. I like to just focus on the game. I'll text you. So if you got my number, you text me. Brett and I talk all the time. Alex, Evan will usually calls me after games. But I'm not usually on Twitter. I try to stay off because I don't like instant reactions too much.
I tend to react on Twitter and the emotions more than anything. That's how you know I'm an actual fan. But like, I try not to either because sometimes they do bite you in the ass. But whatever. I
think it's fair though. I don't like somebody. What they did yesterday, pulling out of some tweet with 305 Sports Babe. I thought people, look, man, when there's raw emotion during a game, whatever,
you can't hold it against somebody.
Yeah, cut that crap out, people. Some fans are so sensitive and to go off on somebody, and use that against them. Bull crap. Look, I just think it's wrong. People can have a right to have a raw emotion. Right after the game, you go, "Oh, you see, you're an idiot." Shut the hell up, dude.
Even Douglas Durong, who the front of the network, he's been Mr. Positive on his show all the time, and he tries to always put a positive spin on it. And hats off to him for doing that, because some people they just want that positive spin, and he does a great job of it. Like Travis Wingfield and all that's where he's made his always with a positive spin. That's great, but like. He even mentioned something during that game when we were getting our asses kicked, like same old Dolphins kind of like mentality. And it's kind of like, well, he's not wrong. He's watched his team for years. He's watched his team get their teeth kicked in like this and then quit. So what he said wasn't wrong at the time he said it. It was absolutely 100% correct, and it's still correct now. What he said at that moment wasn't wrong, and people were blasting him for it. I'm like, look, dude, he reacted off emotion, but he wasn't even wrong. He made the right statement at the right time. But looking back after, hindsight's now 2020, you're like, oh, well, they won. Yeah, well, at the moment they were getting their asses kicked. So what he said wasn't even wrong. So So it's hard when you react emotional during a game because people look at it after the game with hindsight, and you can't do that. And look, if you're reacting during a game and it's like negative, it's fine. Like you love this team, you're gonna react. And if you react positive or negative, whatever, you love your team. And if you're reacting negative, that just shows you care about the team. That's all I have.
100% agree with that. And I'm gonna leave it at that, man. So yeah, you guys want to, people who throw the "I told you so" and everything, dude, just let fans enjoy the game. We have a right. We've seen this team struggle for 10 years or with 30 years, whatever you want to call it, not 10 years. And dude, we're happy about it. But if we're gonna call shit is shit, and we're just gonna roll with it, and
hey, most of those dudes weren't even around when Marino was playing. So
yeah, I know. Well, look up tweets from a year ago, or it's like, dude, grow up with the "I told you so" stuff.
They're the same ones saying LeBron over Jordan. They just weren't alive for Jordan.
That's right. But hey, positivity side of it, and I know Evan says
we're on a roll.
Are real now. Yeah. Hey, Dolphins win tomorrow. OSU 28-0 right now. Hey, MTSU beat UM. Holy hell.
Yeah.
Wow, what a game.
Tyler Van Dyke got benched. Cristobal's on his way to ruin another quarterback. Good job, Cristobal.
That's all right. They'll have a good pro career and argue about another guy. But anyway, my brother wins. We're excited. I'm sure you and I are going to chat it up tomorrow. We got the post-game show tomorrow night. 8 p.m. Eastern time. We have Evan with Justin, myself. Open invitation for Brett all times.
Hey, I'm going to try to jump on that one.
Yeah, it's either way. It's gonna be a big game. So yeah, that would be awesome to have you on. I know Evan will love it. He's been waiting to talk with you.
Let's see what happens with that game.
I know, yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You've been watching Overtime on the Fids Talk Sports Network. Again, thank you wherever you're watching. Smash that like and subscribe button. Dolphins win tomorrow. Those are our predictions. 28-25 Brett, 35-28 myself. And it looks like most of the fans on here are in agreement. So until then, we will see you tomorrow on the post-game show. Let's hope for a Dolphins win. Like, subscribe. Most importantly, fins up, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
3-0 coming.
3-0, baby.